Avatar, The Way of Water. Good movie. It was a good movie. Does the original Avatar or Avengers stand a chance of losing their number one, number two, respectively, spot of top grossing movie of all time? Probably not. Probably not. I think its grossing weekend was in the 50s, 50 million, which, it ain't bad. I don't have $50 million in the bank, but if you talk about a big budget super film, Black Adam did like 70, 80. Avenger or Black Panther Part 2, Wakanda Forever, just under 200 million. So 50-ish million is kind of soft in that particular category. So I wouldn't call it a financial flop yet, but they're not making the money they should be making. When I went to the theater, not only was I the only person in the entire theater, and I went the second day it was open. Not only was I the only person there, to be honest, it was like I went at a 10 o'clock movie. It's like 10 o'clock at night. So the movie didn't end till like 2. So there was still trash from the previous people. So I'm thinking the attendants that was working there was thinking, there's probably nobody in there. There's no need to go. They didn't expect anybody to be in there. So when I saw that someone had left a soda can and it hadn't been picked up, I was like, oh, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. So few people have been coming here that the people who work here didn't come here to clean up because they figured there's probably nothing there because nobody was there. That's tough. That's double tough. The movie hit a lot of movie tropes, a lot of them. It did a lot of the previous movie. You could find that in this movie. Zoe screamed in the first one. It was kind of touching when she was, she screamed. It was gut wrenching. She screamed like 3 times in this movie, and I was like, not so much. If you just keep doing it, I mean, it's like if you like pie, but you have to eat pie every meal for the next month, you ain't gonna like that pie so much. She screamed in the first one. It was gut wrenching. She was like, ah, and I was like, oh man, wow, you gonna feel the pain. But then she did it like 3 times in this movie, and I was like, maybe not. The last movie, the main character has to ride a gigantic bird, the Darkwing or Death Shadow or whatever it was called. He had to jump on the back of that and ride it. Also, he learned how to fly those other Tyrannosaurus-like birds, and he just jumped on the back of one. He fell off, but he jumped on again. In this movie, someone else has to tame a large version of what everybody else is riding, and he rides it. Dun, dun, dun. And I was thinking to myself, didn't they do that in the last? They did it in the last movie, right? He had to overcome, the challenges that these people were feeling, so he did it in a bigger way. You know what? When I was younger, there used to be cowboy and Indian movies. And in the cowboy and Indian movies, the cowboys would come to the Indians' land and learn their stuff better than them, and then teach them their own stuff. They would mansplain all of their stuff to them. This is what's going on over here. If you take the buffalo and you do this, they were explaining stuff to them, and these people was like, we've been here for like 5 centuries. Well, what are you talking about? That kind of thing happened here. The guy comes from Earth, comes here, learns these indigenous people from Pandora. He learns their stuff, and then he starts to teach them a better way to do the thing that they're doing. And then his daughter is like an X-Man. She's like a mutant. She is slowly starting to inherit powers that no one has. And I don't know, the goddess of their world, right, connects everything. And she's starting to get connected to it because her mother studied the world and was trying to figure it out. So somehow she became connected and it passed on to the daughter, and now the daughter's connected. The people who live there, they've lived there forever and have a symbiotic relationship with the world, they didn't get that superpower. But this daughter of somebody from another world comes in here, just like the cowboys, learns the Indians' way, but better. You know, she's like, you know, she can feel the earth and she can move stuff. And I'm like, you're a superhero. What movie is this? Is this the X-Men? She just had superpowers out of nowhere. And at first they were like, oh, if she does it again, it'll kill her. And I was like, oh, wow, so she can't do that no more. And then the next time she does it, she's terrified of it. She doesn't know what's going on. And then they say, don't do it again, it'll kill you. And then she just does it again, and she's completely mastered everything. I didn't get it. I didn't get that. Well, I get it. It's a trope. It happens in all of the movie. It's like when the young master, you know, he knows he's got to fight, and the old master's going to teach him martial arts or whatever. All I got to do is play some 80s music, have a little montage, show him learning 2 or 3 moves, rolling around in the grass, lifts weights for like 3 minutes, and all of a sudden he's better than the master. That's what happened here. She didn't know she had these abilities, and she was scared of the abilities. Then they told her that, you know, you had a stroke. If you do it again, you know, this could kill you to death. And she's like, oh, no. And then all of a sudden, she just like, I mean, and it wasn't like she had to study it. She just woke up the next day and was like, you know, and she was using the powers. So I know where that's going. She's going to have a connection with the goddess of the world, of their world. She's the daughter of, I don't want to give too much away, but she's the daughter of Sigourney Weaver. And Sigourney Weaver produced a child, supposedly, without actually having sex with anyone. So she kind of Jesus Christ and married this chick into existence. You know, she's like, I didn't have sex with anybody, just, you know, woke up pregnant. And now this kid can control the world. So I guess the planet did it. I guess. You know, like Peter and his dad and the Guardians of the Galaxy, he was a planet. He came to Earth. His mom got pregnant from a planet. I guess that's what happened in here. She got pregnant from a planet. So what had happened was, they killed the colonel in the first movie. Colonel's dead. But they thought that he would die on this planet for some reason. So they cloned a Pandorian person. So, and then they took the memories and essentially the soul of the colonel, took it out, put it in a computer, and they're like, we're gonna give it to the clone. The clone, after all this time, has grown to fruition. He's a Pandorian giant. All of the people that died, that whole team that died, they had cloned Pandorians for them for some reason. I don't know why. They picked these particular ones. Maybe they did it for everybody. Then they put their spirits in there. So when his spirit, the dead dude, the villain from part 1, is now in a clone, he's like, oh, you know, the skills of a Marine, I gotta admit, if there were a bunch of Marines, everybody should have died, but the spirit of a Marine inside the body of one of these Pandorian people, I was like, yeah, that would be dangerous, I guess, because he's like 8, 9, 10 feet tall and super strong and fast and everything. Their arrows, bow and arrows are longer than spears. They can fire them through bulletproof glass. I mean, these dudes are dangerous. They're superheroes, really. Yeah, he's got one of those bodies with the Marine mind and his team. So he's he's like crazy dangerous. And he wants revenge now. He wants revenge on Sully. Because Sully, the main hero, the protagonist, him and his wife, he thinks Sully killed him, but he examines, he's a clone inside the body of the Pandorian. They kind of explain it, they kind of danced around it. But he's a Pandorian now with the mind of the Colonel. He finds the Colonel's actual body, his actual body, and he sees, it's not bullets in his body, it's two great big giant arrows. So he wants to kill Sully, but he really wants to kill Sully's wife. It was good. It was a good movie. It was a good, solid movie. If you're looking to just see some action, most of it, 85% of the movie was in the water, and I didn't really dig that much. They've decided to move the franchise away from the forest into the water. They've decided to say it's not this gigantic tree that they need to suck the energy out of to help humanity. Now it's these, I guess they were like whales that are in the water. They kill them, they're gigantic, they're enormous. Because the Pandorians are like 10 foot tall and they're dwarfed by these things. Its eye is like that big compared to a Pandorian. They're gigantic. And they kill them, go inside and suck just a little bit of the juice out of their brain, I guess. And they're only getting like that much. How they knew it was in there, I don't know. But, they got it. They don't want the carcass, they don't want the bones, they don't want the meat, nothing. Kill this gigantic whale-like animal. Take a little bit of juice out of its brain. They're like, get rid of the body. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. That's kind of like what they did with the buffalo. That's kind of nuts. So they get that since supposedly this little bit of juice will make you immortal. But that much of it, he said, was only worth like $83 million, which is a lot. But for immortality, it seems like people would pay a lot for that. But companies would pay a lot for that. But, so that's what they're doing now. They moved the entire movie to the ocean. So now they don't need the tree, they need the whales. Now they're not in the forest, they're in the ocean. Now they don't have the flying birds, they got these dolphins that also have wings too, so they can fly and swim through the water. And Sully and his family had to learn to almost breathe underwater, because the people that they get with are water people. They're almost like mermaids. But they act like Maori or Samoans, Hawaiians. They act like that. When they're yell, the other ones in the trees growl and show you teeth. These guys yell, growl, and stick their tongues out. I was like, that's like the Samoans. And they were doing like a Samoan type thing. I could look it up. I'm pretty sure that the leader of that group is in fact an islander, but I'm going to find out. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. And if it wasn't being forced into the class of Avatar 1, Avengers Endgame, Titanic, if it wasn't in that category, people were like, it's going to be as good as that, then, you would say, yeah, it was a solid movie. But knowing the expectation, nah. It would be like the fastest guy in your school, in high school or your college. And you're like, yeah, Joey is incredibly fast. He's the best runner I've ever seen. And then they tell you, well, he's only running against Usain Bolt. And you're like, he's not that good. That's this movie. It's not Usain Bolt. It's the fastest kid in your high school. But I would give this movie, without giving away a whole lot of it, I would give this movie 7 bags of popcorn. Because I can see where it's going. And I'm not, they're supposed to be making another couple of movies. I'm not sure that they will. But we'll see. Who knows? But that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now that you had a chance to see the video, let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe.
Popcorn Passport.